What up, bro? About to do this. About to do this Zoom stream for these kids. If we have any participants this afternoon, so we should be getting ready now. Please wait for the host to start the meeting. So, I did some, it's really hard to explain what I did. They say they needed an assistant to assist with, actually I'm wearing their shirt now. So, if y'all see on my Instagram when we were pouring iron, that comes from the Keystone Ironworks. And we use the Scranton furnaces, the old furnaces where back in the day they used to like make railroad ties and beams and like smelting like industrial type stuff. Like we still have an actual iron furnace that's semi-functional, or the location anyway. And so the Keystone Ironworks, you know, we do summer programs where we teach kids how to sculpt and mold figures and cast iron figures from it. And so I got asked to participate last year with the Keystone Ironworks, one of the most, you know, exciting experiences of my life. Actually pouring molten hot iron, yo, like me catching hot iron and then pouring this shit, yo. That shit was so fucking cool, yo. Like dressed, geared the fuck down, and then like it's the whole process of, you know, the creative concept of what are you gonna cast? Like, what is your image? What is your idea? And so I made, if you look at all the fucking, statues and edifices on the Giza Plateau in Egypt, man, a lot of them statues got their nose blown off, or chiseled off, or smashed off for whatever reasons. But a lot of the noses are damaged. And some people have theorized because the noses were wider and more prominent, not slim and asqueous like a European nose, and so it had more African features. And the people who saw that were just like smashing noses off these things or whatever. So my iron project was to recreate the facade of the Sphinx, but have the nose attached and have like a black person's nose. And so that's what I molded out of clay. Got to pour that with some iron, and I got mine upstairs. Yo, shit weigh like 30 pounds of iron, yeah. Alright, so the class is supposed to start at 6, but we're supposed to like get together, go over notes, and kind of just sit in the Zoom until like from 5 and just like go over things. And I actually do, I don't know, have some questions maybe. Really didn't go over our vocabulary list that we wanted for the kids, but we do have. Sorry, she said give her a few minutes. The Sphinx, my nigga. I'm on the first floor. He want me to run upstairs to the studio on the 3rd floor. And no lie, this drone is like, that's at least 25 pounds, bro. At least. That's about 25 pounds. Fucking cast iron. And it's actually we melted down old radiators. This is a solid piece of fucking radiator. I'm not Jamaican. I said that. No. That shit hot though. Everybody's like, what are you making? I'm like, the Sphinx with a nose. It's like, huh? I'm like, you'll see. You'll see when it's done. It's the Sphinx with a nose. Alright. I need to ask 3 questions. I like 3s. I got 2 questions so far. I need a 3rd question. So for this first lesson, I'm gonna actually recite a poem. The whole concept of this thing is we're supposed to do an iron cast at the end of the program. Everyone should have an idea of an iron cast they want to make, but it's going to be like a 12-inch oval molding, and it's going to be more like a plaque, kind of. But each week we're going to discuss a different poet, a different singer or songwriter, a different visual artist, a painter or a photographer, strictly focused on, black culture. We're gonna predominantly look at black artists and issues of the black community and try to just educate some of the younger kids on, the black experience. And hopefully by the end of the classes, they should have some idea of what they can create from what they've learned throughout the course. And so I submitted a poem. I said, I'll actually, if we're gonna do poetry, I can do a poem. I have an original poem that I wrote when I was a kid. And so I'll just do mine in the first class and just kind of get that shit out the way. And then we can worry about other people later on. I'll probably have them listen to Tupac Changes. Y'all know that song, Changes, by Tupac. Have them listen to that. Let's break those fucking lyrics down. Have them look at some Fahamu Peku paintings or some Kehinde Wiley art. Have them listen to an Erykah Badu song. Let's break these lyrics down. You know what I'm saying? Look at some photographers. And then it's not just me. So the other instructor she wants them to listen to Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit. Let's analyze this shit. Break these lyrics down and try to understand, what's good, what's up with the black community? Why do we feel like this, and why is it still this way today? You know what I'm saying? And there's so much information out there that people aren't aware of. So many different artists trying to express it in different ways using different formats and media, and we're just trying to, introduce these kids to different artists, and hopefully they'll be inspired, motivated to create something themselves that expresses how they feel about what's going on in the world nowadays. So I wrote a poem when I was 15. I recited this poem a lot in my stream. It's the only poem I have memorized. I've written like about a dozen poems or so, but I only memorized one because it was really popular and everybody liked it. And God damn it, Dre. And so I've said it several times, and even in I did a series called The Writer, and I put some of my writings on canvas next to a self-portrait of myself, obviously. So the poem, I wrote this poem when I was in 10th grade, yo. I was 15 years old. And it was for a writing contest for high school kids to be published in a like a compilation book of poems. And that's what it basically was. Like, you know, somebody had a great idea. It was like, yo, let's get some high school kids, write some poems and put them all in the book. You know what I'm saying? And as young artists, young poets, and to let the kids get exposure that way. So I submitted. Actually, my English teacher, it was kind of a mandatory assignment for us. She made it an assignment. She was like, all right, there's this poetry contest. Everybody's gonna write a poem and submit for it. It was like, all right, cool. So I wrote my poem, and I think we had like a couple days to write them or whatever, and then like the day of submission, where we had to turn them in, she actually made everyone, you know, stand. No, it ain't even like we had a podium in the front of the class, so everybody had to come up to the podium and read their poem, yo. When I read my poem, like, shit was just hot. And I thought I was kind of rapping at the time, a little bit, but I was writing poems before then. I was writing poems in like middle school. The first time, like when they told us to write a poem, I thought it was fun, and I used to write poems a lot, yo. But I only wrote like I say, about 10 or 12 like real serious poems where I, you know, took my time and tried to write that shit out. And that still is like when I was younger, all before my like 20s and shit. But so the title of my poem the title of my poem is America. And I took the C out of America and put the 3 K's in it. I forgot where I saw that, but even way back then, you know, spelling America with 3 K's was already kind of like a popular thing to do. And so here's my poem, America. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. No rest, no sleep, no peace. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Keep in pace and never mind the dying rate of our race. Standing at the hinges of hell's gate, being told to follow an apple held by a snake. Blood is shed, staining the earth red, leaving bodies for dead in order to help the wealthy get ahead. Historians making history out of his story. Filling up the pages of textbooks to bore me for 8 hours, learning about cowards who invaded the native land, taking away from us what's ours. No truth to the pain, no reason, no justice, just us. The last survivors who refused to be crushed by the 9 planets of society and left in the dust. Yet, too many of us trust and lust without hesitation, holding hands with Satan while frolicking with his maiden. And this is the world that you've made for my children to be raised in? One piece of dirt, sectioned off by lines we cannot see, filled with people telling me what I can and cannot be? America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. I wrote that shit at 15. And I thought it was like witty, edgy, not even realizing the shit that I was really hitting on. And it took me 10 years later to fucking really analyze, like, where the fuck did you get that from? Where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a Christian ass family, church, and that's it. Go to church, believe in Jesus Christ, you know, the blue-eyed savior and all that shit. I had no militant people in my family. Had nobody preaching no Malcolm X and none of that shit around me. But even before 15, I already knew, like, internally I knew there is something fucking wrong. And there's a reason why black people are in the condition that we're in now. And most of it ain't our fault. Most of it isn't. You know what I'm saying? And I seen that shit early on. So after I submitted that shit for the art contest, for the writing contest, like a couple days after that, called me down to the guidance counselor office, yo. They had my English teacher, the guidance counselor, the principal and assistant principal. Everybody black except the assistant principal. And there's somebody brought up an issue saying that, oh, we're not going to be able to submit Travis's poem because it sounds racist. And they brought me in there and talked to me about that shit. Yo, like, what is this? I'm like, it's a poem. And even at 15, I couldn't really explain like why I wrote it. But I'm like, it's not racist though. It's like facts. And they thought like maybe I plagiarized it or something. They couldn't find it. It's an original poem that I wrote. I was on my phone, so I was about to join twice. Yeah, and the last link you sent me, I clicked on it and said this is a reoccurring meeting, as if like we can keep joining that same link.
Okay.
The first one. Okay. Yeah, can you hear me? I don't have my camera on. There it is. Yep. I have not. Hmm. Um, Nikki, hold up for 1 second. I'm gonna grab my Bluetooth speaker because for some reason it seems like the sound is really low and I can't get it to come up any higher. But maybe if I connect my speaker, it'll be a little bit better. Be right back. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't give too much feedback on this thing. I can't get to my menu screen from here now. Oh well. It's not terrible. It's just I actually have a window unit AC that's loud, so that's probably another reason I can't get over it. It almost seems as if I would want to. Okay, I'm good. I'll just go like this. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind you running through this right here, so I can see what it is.
sculpture park, then you'll also have a marker that has text and defines what's happening or describes what's happening. Um, Here are two. So one, a memorial for a bike accident on the left. So, a memorial that people have, that people come and they tend, and it marks the place where the person was killed, but also marks this memory for them. And then I thought this wall was kind of interesting. This wall is sort of serves as a memorial for the house that was torn down. So each of these little things that are embedded in the wall are artifacts from the house.
Wow.
So it's sort of a memory piece. So this idea of um, how we embed memory as an object, memory as an idea, memory as a word, or as a concept. I'm going really fast, sorry. Um, Here's one, a sort of richer, again, a memorial. So this is in Alaska, and it's for people that are lost at sea. So there's a poem, there's a marker, there's a bell that's rung every time another soul is lost fishing. And then on the inside, there are very specific iconography, symbolism of the task. So like the braided rope and the hook and the wheelie steery thing. And there's like a mermaid back there, and again they ring the bell. So there's this constitutes a lot of those things. It's both a marker and a memorial and a monument, right? So it's kind of all things um, in memory of these sailors. This one I just thought was funny. This is my neighbor who put a mask on their little sheep.
Wow.
Uh,
My neighbors across the street have two bulldogs sitting on their podium, and they have masks on them.
But I thought that was an interesting idea about also a marker, something that's very contemporary right now, right? This idea that we're in this situation. And then again, another one in a public setting, in a more public setting. This one's in the park in Scranton. And then I got into things that were more contemporary memorials and more sort of about what we're talking about. So this is one for George Floyd, which I think is in his hometown, although I didn't fact check that. But this idea of how memorials tend to spring up very specifically at the place or very specifically in public areas where they can serve a lot of people, where they can really expand the conversation, where they become very public. So in this very public and also performative, right? So in this case, this one is still active. It's still receiving flowers and cards and candles, and so it's still an active place of memorial, as opposed to something that becomes more in the zone of memory. This one I used to pass all the time when I lived on the Lower East Side, the Tupac one,
Mhm.
and also one for 9/11. So we tend to make these kinds of things for that. These kind of public things are often like in neighborhoods. You'll see them for someone who was killed in a neighborhood or who died in a neighborhood and was beloved, right? So they become local, but then sometimes they're more global, as in the case of well, Tupac's pretty global, but this idea of something that the greater culture embraces
Mhm.
kind of universally. Um, and also, I mean, there's things to talk about in these if we want to go back into them, about like what's defining them. We know that there are, this is my worst Zoom trait, is that I point to the screen like anybody can see me pointing to the screen only at. I need a bigger arrow, but like, in this case, the symbology of having the gunshots
Mhm.
along with the epitaph,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So this sort of, it's it's what would you say that is? It's not a It's sort of a legend, right? Sort of the live by the gun, die by the gun, but then that is in fact what killed him, and then also that is repeated by the symbolism of sure I can say her name. Adatina, Adatiana, Adatiana. I'm
A,
terrible.
a Tatiana, a Tatiana, yeah, a
But
Tatiana Jefferson,
I
Tay
thought this was
Jefferson.
really beautiful that someone painted this. Someone who didn't know her painted this during the last thing that she did before she died.
Yeah,
So this idea of um, of memory as active remembrance as something very positive, right?
yeah. Wow.
Um, I take that one out. Is that one too much?
No, no, it's needed. It's much needed.
So then sort of gets into like where the divisiveness comes from and how these things are used as tools. So are you familiar with this one?
I am not the Bloody Rock.
So this is in Kingston. It's in like just a couple. Not, it's in Wyoming, like a couple of miles from here. So
Hmm.
underneath that grate is literally a rock, and that rock is ascribed to be the place where Queen Esther, who was an indigenous Indian, slaughtered a whole bunch of settlers. And so there's a really interesting thing that happens here. So on the first
Wow.
mark placed here, it says, "Upon this rock, the Indian Queen Esther slaughtered the brave patriots in the Battle of July 3rd, 1778." Um, and this is preserved by the Wyoming Valley chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. So what's interesting here is that you have an organized group of women who, at that time in 1898, are relatively powerless, who prescribe to define the history of this space, right?
Wow.
But in the next one, what it says is, on the night of July 3rd, 1778, after the Battle of Wyoming, 14 more captive soldiers were murdered here by a mall wielded by a revengeful Indian woman, traditionally, but not certainly identified as Queen Esther. So you still have this marker put in by the state of Pennsylvania that is identifying this wrathful, murderous Indian woman, right?
Yeah.
No context for like what pissed her off so much, right? Why did she get so mad?
Yeah.
Right? So what's interesting about this I talked to a friend of mine today who's a historian, and this monument was placed the year that the Indian Wars ended. So it also marks the end of hostilities from the Indians.
Mm.
So now white Americans don't have to fight Indians anymore. They just have to whitewash them, like
Yeah.
literally.
Just let's just rewrite the history a little bit.
Right. So really what's missing here is not that this isn't an important site or not that there probably wasn't murder here,
Yeah.
right? Larger context of what happened to these Indians that spurred this situation. And also there's like a million stories around this too. Like the Indians were used against other colonists, they were used against the French. There's a whole, so really it's about rounding out the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at these things, what we really should be doing is saying, that seems like a small part of the story, not really the whole story. So
Exactly.
this is that group that I was talking to you about. I keep forgetting their name. History of Illumination. History of Illumination.
Yeah.
So
I followed him on Instagram.
yeah, so he's all got taken down, sadly. I just read that today. But this is also pretty interesting because, well, it's a bigger conversation than for today, but this monument also goes up right around that same time frame. And it's the time frame in Mississippi when at some point there's 75,000 black men eligible to vote. And
And that's what a lot of people don't realize about the civil rights movement is we were granted those same rights 100 years before that, and they just like took it back,
It chipped them away. Yeah.
and I don't know.
So this is the Lee statue that actually was just taken down. And then these are two of the stories that accompany that. So I think this is a good thing to talk about, again, rounding out the narrative,
Yeah,
right? That what the organization is doing is, in a very peaceful, respectful way, giving the rest of the information. Um, and then this one I thought was really interesting. So this young woman just like put up a new plaque. I was like, go you. We'll just get a right on and you should stay. I'm like, I love this little girl.
wow.
But this is from, where are my notes? This is in England. And it is a statue of Edward Colston,
Hmm.
who was quite a remarkable entrepreneur and philanthropist, and this whole neighborhood is named for him. But he made all of his money in the slave trade, every penny of it. So last week, that statue was taken down. It used to sit right here, taken down by an angry mob and dumped into the river. And a young woman, this young woman, whose name was Jen Reed, climbed up onto the plinth during the protest after it was taken out, and a sculptor captured, or so her picture was captured, and a sculptor found her and did this life-size sculpture of her, and they installed it overnight without permission when no one was looking.
And then
And
they
they put
they took it
her
down a
on,
couple days later, though.
they took it down almost immediately, but
It's
they are negotiating to potentially put it back up. Like they said, we took it down because it was unauthorized. We didn't know if it was safe, but they haven't destroyed it, and they are negotiating with the mayor to potentially put it back up.
that was pretty cool though.
Right? But just the guy's turnaround time, like
That's what I was saying. Like, dude, how fast did you
I
sculpt that
think it
thing? Like,
has to be 3D printed. I think he just had somebody with a 3D printer, and that's probably
ooh,
not
yeah, cause you're not you would have to go 4 or 5 days without sleep
right.
to even
Yeah.
just
So
get the mold ready. Like,
I think they probably did that too, but I think it has to be 3D printed.
3D
So
printed.
anyway, so
Mm.
that's the last one I have. So I thought that that was like I could, frame the idea of how these things are situated in space and in our world with that. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, look, it went back where it was supposed to. Okay, that's good. So I have little visual aids. This is the oval they're going to get sent for a template. And I have my little piece of iron, and I'm just going to write down their names. I think we now have more mentors than we have students, but that's probably okay. I don't know. Just going to do the best we can. The mentors are all really interesting. They'll be so excited to be taking a class with you, so it's all good.
How do
So do you have a Zoom account?
I haven't made a personal Zoom account, no.
Because I don't know how to share I don't know if we need you to have one to share your screen.
Let me see if I can do this real quick.
Yeah.
Mm, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, so I wonder how I undo that. I did that so that they didn't do anything bad. Okay, so how do I get back to that? There. See if you can now.
All right. Share screen.
Great.
And I want to share this screen. Share.
Nice. I like that title.
Yeah, so this is my personal mantra. I think this has helped me get to where I'm at right now in life because I don't have a lot of education, but I'm definitely persistent. If nothing else. So I've been saying this to myself for a couple of years now, and like I really do believe like it kind of grounds me from day to day, especially at the beginning of the year. I wasn't like getting any art sales or anything, and then COVID hit, and I don't know, it's kind of in a slump for a minute, but just keep the passion and stay persistent. And now I got a full plate and doing everything, and we're having Zoom instructionals for the kids, and just be patient and things that work out. After I really just wanted to introduce myself to the kids a little bit and get right into the poetry part whenever we were ready for that. Uh, Probably let them see this screen, and as I recite the poem, I could put this up because I included the poem in a series of paintings called The Writer, where I did three self portraits, and on each canvas, I actually wrote, um, or I put original writing for myself on each canvas. So two canvases have poems on them, and one canvas has a verse from a song that I wrote. And like I say, probably recite the poem, which is here on this canvas. See that visual, and then I talk about the way I try to implement education into my art because I really think that is key. It is so key that we educate ourselves of beyond our day-to-day schooling that we get just going to school because there's tons of stuff that the school doesn't teach, and there's especially in this information age, you can have access to all the information you want, whatever topic, whatever subject you want to research, and you can find good, reliable sources. So I try to use my art as another uh, medium of educating people and introducing people to different things they may not be aware of. Um, I did this portrait of my son a few years ago. Another really cool saying that I like: the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separate. So you can have all the dreams you want, but if you don't put any work towards it, you're not gonna accomplish anything, and you'll never achieve any of your dreams. Um, the biggest way that I've been able to implement education into my art is I try to put literature in my paintings. This piece right here was the first actual conception of my reader series, where I use myself as a model, but the real focus is on the reading material, uh, which I'm holding here, and it has a lot of political information on there. I actually sold that piece to a collector. He has several pieces of mine now.
I'll look for. I seen a. I thought I'd seen the whole series, but I don't think I've seen that one.
That's like pre-reader series. That was the one that actually there's one more that came before that one, and I like that one, but you couldn't really see what was on the book. So I said, let me try it again. And this piece right here, I wasn't a really big fan of Obama. I watched this one documentary called The Obama Deception, and that's what I wrote on there. And I wrote something about police state and gun bans, and that's what was the hot topic in the media at the time. So after I did this piece, I said I really want to do something that is really pronounced so that when you see it, there is no, oh, what does this mean, or what is that saying? So I this was my first, what I would consider my first real installment of the reader series, where you can it's a portrait, but you can clearly see that the book holds the focal point of the piece, which makes the this book a little bit more important than everything else. I wanted to direct your eyes directly to the center of the canvas, and this is a real book, and that was my main point for this piece. Hey, this is a book that I've read. I realize a lot of people haven't read it. I want people to read this book. I'm going to paint a picture of it, and hopefully, when people see it, they'll ask questions and maybe go get a copy of this book and read it. And this piece got a lot of positive feedback, so I said, I think I may be onto something. And so I continued the trend. Uh, Another historic figure that isn't well known or taught about in schools is Nat Turner and his slave rebellion of 1831. Um, Malcolm X and his teachings. Huey P. Newton, American Apartheid is here, and here's a book on the Rothschilds. And there's a lot of other smaller symbolisms in here. If you look at my watch, the time on the watch is it says 9/11, and I'm a big 9/11 conspiracy buff, so I put that there. My shirt says trap, which has a significance to it. Trap stands for take, risk, and prosper. And so once again, trying to really just put some things right up front to say, hey, do you know who Nat Turner is? You don't? Well, go look it up and look up Nat Turner, 1831. Read some Malcolm X and read this book on the Rothschilds. And once again, I felt that oh, I'm sorry.
Here, I'm just listening. I had to get a
Okay,
pencil.
yeah. Originally, I felt that I thought the series would be way more popular than it is, and it really isn't. But that it never deterred me from continuing with this trend, and I now consider the Rita series to be my flagship project. Which uh, one time I posted a picture and I said, "Hey, the Rita series is finally complete," and I don't think the series will ever really be finished because there's so much literature, there's so much more to learn, and
Hold on, I'm gonna say hello to our waiting room. They're coming.
okay, so yeah, we can get right in here.
Oh wait, I think they have a message.
Well, wait a minute, I'm gonna do I have to stop screen sharing? There it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, should we start letting them in?
Sure.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey. I'll be right back. I have to go get my regular eyeglasses.
Lucy and Grace, are you here?
Yes.
Hey guys.
Oh. Can I tell Travis what you two did?
What happened?
Sure.
Got up at 6 o'clock this morning to come to class. They were awake and ready for us.
Nikki, my excuses. There was a miscommunication. Okay.
6 a.m. They was like, yeah, first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Actually, I forgot to send everyone a reminder. I didn't do that right. But I'm so proud of you guys. Nothing makes me happier.
Aww.
I don't have any videos from you guys.
Oh. You turn our video on?
Like to release it.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys don't have to. You honestly don't. It's all good.
For just a minute to see everyone's faces for a second. There's someone else in the waiting room who I don't know. Do you want to show us? There you are. Who's this guy over here with the New York Yankees logo?
It's you, Beth. It's your parent.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I didn't really think about it. It really doesn't make a difference if you guys have your cameras on or not.
Oh, we're here now. Oh, we're here now.
Well, I need to get a drink real quick, guys.
Oh, two more. There we go. There we go.
All
Hi.
right.
Hello.
Hey, hey, what's up, everybody?
Hello.
I think we should have the next class at whoever's house has a pool. That'd be cool. Right, everybody's starting to show up. Excellent. So nice to see you all. So we have about an even match of high school students and college student mentors. So
That's
that's good.
nice.
That's like a good balance point.
Works out fine.
There she is with the duck.
Now she can see.
What's up? Is that Jill?
Hi, Gemma.
What's up, lady? How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see your face.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I feel like I saw your girl yesterday or a couple days ago, but I didn't know. No, not anymore.
The outside conversation.
Oh my god.
Oh, she's on. Your hair got long.
Yeah, for sure. I love those hexagonal glasses.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. Now it's Anita.
Sorry, my sister's blowing her nose if you heard that. Yeah, she's coming in. I'm in a meeting. Okay.
Let's see, I can send out some text reminders. Maybe do this. How about we do that? Oh, here
What
we
are
go.
you trying to do?
Well,
The
I got
chat?
a couple more students I'm missing. I was gonna.
Hey.
Shannon.
Shannon.
That's
This
Gavin.
Gemma?
Yeah, girl.
Gemma.
Everybody here.
Party is beginning.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Lucy.
Hello.
All right, which one's which?
I'm Grace.
I hate that I can't tell you two apart. Makes
I got new glasses.
You two have to sit on the same side of your computer at every KIW Zoom meeting from now on.
Got it.
Your hair is shorter now.
I have mine up. It's very long now.
Yes, do you have to always wear your hair up?
Okay.
Oh, they're talking.
Carly.
Hi. Gabby, where's Elton? Gabby, you are. Phil, we can't hear you. Ask to unmute. No? All right, well, Elton, if you can hear us, hi. Where's your brother?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh.
You guys both there?
He's about to go on his own.
Hi. Looking for a couple more. Pretty great group.
Are you in your new studio, Nikki?
No, I'm in the old studio, and look, I have an ant.
When ants fly.
Maybe it should stay that way.
Maybe it's kind of good.
Yeah.
Supplies and no internet, so maybe that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're still waiting for Castor and Kate and a couple of messages.
Travis, I like that T-shirt.
What? This old thing?
Oh my god, I love that.
This old thing? Oh,
Oh my
you know, I try to stay fashionable.
When I was talking to you on the phone the other day, I didn't realize it, but I had one on.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me being a slacker.
I think it was what, like the 2 weeks only wearing Eastern Islands t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go about a week straight doing it.
That's funny.
Yeah, a whole week straight, every color.
Nice. All right, so we're checking. We'll give everybody like a minute or two.
Yeah, we got a full crowd in here. Everybody got drinks, snacks. Wish I had me a bag of Skittles right now.
I wish I had some Skittles too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Skittles, yo. Love some Skittles. What color bag you like the best though?
Purple.
The purple? What? That's my yo. That's the tropical. That's the best one, yo. That purple bag.
I don't know. I like the blue bag too.
The blue bag. That's
Both of them. If I could take my
blue
favorite
bag.
photo
The
for
blue
a
bag
while,
come in a close second.
Yeah.
Skittles are Skittles.
Yeah, they all
Skittles
tasty.
are not Skittles. There's a wide range.
Very important to us. Guys who are new to this group can tell who knows each other. All right. Well, I sent out some little calls, but maybe so we're not all here forever. We should get started. So, I think it's best maybe if we all introduce ourselves. So I don't know how to do that in a orderly fashion. So I'll shout out your names and we'll go like that. How's that sound?
What do you want us to say?
Hi, my name is. I don't know why you're here. I don't know. Short. Keep it short. Travis, you go first.
Hi guys, I'm Travis Prince. I'm a local artist. I work for a local nonprofit organization, and I'm a local TV show host. And I'm happy to be here this evening with you guys.
Yeah, Julius is here now too. We should give you the TV show a plug. All right, so you're next on my list.
Hi, my name is Gabby. I'm from Philly. I'm from Marywood graduate. I'm an artist as well. And this year with the experience, I've been a part of the Tucson project before, but not as big as I am now.
We're gonna show your video someday too.
Oh, no. Excuse me?
Gemma's up. Gemma next.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm a senior arts administration major with a primary concentration in music and a secondary in art at Marywood University. And I'm here tonight because home is where the iron is, and I can't say no to Nikki.
Really on that one?
Grace and Lucy. Grace Dion, you're up next on my list.
Hi, my name is Dion. I'm a high school sophomore, and I've always been a big fan of Run. I'm glad to be here today.
Elton, you're next.
I'm a high school student. My name's Elvin Roberts, and I mean, I guess I draw some drawings, but I'm mostly a writer.
Excellent. I hope you share that with us. Manon, you're next.
Hey, I'm Manon. I go to Marinwood, and I'm an artist, and I love iron, so here I am.
All right. Yeah.
Wait, I'm next.
Yeah, Julius, you're next.
It's, I'm Julius. I and I draw a lot.
All right, welcome to the group. Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm a sophomore sociology major at the U, and I think this will be my 5th year of pouring.
L'Oreal.
Hi, I'm Marielle. I'm a recent graduate from Marywood. This is my first time joining, and Nikki has talked this up, so I'm excited to be here with everybody.
Megan.
I'm Megan. I am a social worker. Forgot I graduated from college. And this is my 6th year with Keystone Ironworks, back as a mentor because I will never stop doing it.
Carly.
Hi, I'm Carly. Also a Marywood student. Really love working with iron and working with Nikki, so of course I am here.
It's like the best summer camp ever with us. Nina, I didn't get you yet.
Hi, I'm Nina. I'm from New York, and I'm just really excited to make some art. Yeah.
All right, did I get everybody? So, my name's Nikki. I have been running Keystone Ironworks for this will be year 11. This will be the strangest year we've ever had, but we're gonna try and keep it moving. I'm a sculptor. Sometimes I make things out of iron. Sometimes I make things out of fabric or other stuff. Yeah. So I think we're gonna start tonight. Travis has work he wants to show you guys. We're gonna try and format this like tonight our discussions start kind of working together. Hopefully the artists that we're showing you and the kinds of things that we're talking about will cross interesting responses, and certainly I know you guys all got like sort of a code of ethics. So this should be a safe space. It should be a respectful space. Nice. I actually reach out and smack you, but imagine that I could. I'll take all the chocolate away from you. No problem. You're not nice. I think we've got some inside of this topic of monument marker and memorial. We really wanted to take this year to work from a Black narrative, really talking about how those things impact the lives of Black people, and really sort of every year Keystone Ironworks has kind of dedicated itself to something thematic. I think that it's really important to engage more deeply in these conversations and ask questions about what is normal and what is normal that's wrong, and how we start to shift those things, and how as artists we have tremendous power to move people in better directions. So with that, I would like to introduce Travis Prince, whose work I have long respected and hope to actually hone soon. So that's all yours.
All right, guys. Like Nikki said, we just went to each session. We want to introduce you to a different artist of color, whether it be visual arts, painting, sculptors, photographers, poets, musicians, or songwriters. that have put some of their experience into their art, and to try to help express uh, the black point of view, the black perspective to the world. So what I want to share with you guys this evening is a poem that I actually wrote when I was in high school myself. I was 15 years old in 10th grade when I wrote this poem. It was for a contest. It was a statewide contest for high school students to have their poems to be a part of a compilation of a poetry book. And I thought it was a pretty cool chance to try to get something published and get my name out there as a writer. And so I want to share this poem with you guys and have a little discussion about it afterwards. So this is from a 15-year-old Travis Prince. The title of my poem is America. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. No rest, no sleep, no peace. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, keeping pace and never mind the dying rate of our race. Standing at the hinges of Hell's Gate, being told to follow an apple held by a snake. Blood is shed, staining the earth red, leaving bodies for dead in order to help the wealthy get ahead. Historians making history out of his story, filling up the pages of textbooks to bore me for 8 hours, learning about cowards who invaded the native land, taking away from us what's ours. No truth to the pain, no reason, no justice, just us. The last survivors who refused to be crushed by the 9 planets of society and left in the dust. Yet, too many of us trust and lust without hesitation, holding hands with Satan, raw frolicking with his maiden. And this is the world that you've made for my children to be raised in? One piece of dirt, sectioned off by lines I cannot see, filled with people telling me what I can and cannot be? America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. Now, I have some questions. I have a couple of questions, but the one thing about this poem too, it was submitted for a writing contest. After we submitted the poetry, we had to read it in class. After we read it in class, 2 days later, I was called down to the guidance counselor's office. I got the guidance. It was my English teacher, the guidance counselor, the principal, and the assistant principal. And I don't know if it was someone in the room or if someone else said that, hey, I don't think this poem should be submitted to this contest because it sounds racist. And so a 15-year-old me is sitting in a room full of adults trying to figure out, like, what's racist about this poem. And they really just wanted to question me and see exactly what I felt and what prompted me to write the material. And afterwards, it was still submitted. It didn't make the cut, but it was still able to be submitted to the contest. But 2 questions real quick. What would compel a 15-year-old high school student to write such a poem? And in your opinion, is this poem racist or not? The floor is yours, guys.
Like one of us to answer that?
Yes.
I mean, in the okay, a little nervous, but of course, obviously it's not racist because like all of it is like currently happening in like today's society and like not just today's society, like pretty much through the whole history of America, right? And Um, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put this out. I don't really have too good of an answer.
That is a good answer. That it
It
has
is.
been happening, and then calling it out became a problem.
Yeah, I think your 15-year-old self is thinking about what's currently happening in their community and what they're feeling. So your 15-year-old self is expressing how you feel in that moment, and how you feel about the environment that you were in, and how injustice and things like that. So I feel like it's not racist because you're speaking your truth, you're speaking your mind, you're speaking how you feel. And it's still currently happening, so it is relatable. So you think about the people that pulled you into the office, they're concerned about it. That's why they pulled you into your notion. You think about this, like where we're coming from and what we're creating this piece. So that's how I took it. That's where I took that. Because it is raising alarm, like you're raising, like if we question things right now, they're questioning you. So it's like you're just stating how you feel. I don't think it's
Anyone else?
I feel like it probably made everybody in the room, especially anybody who's like white, it probably made them uncomfortable, which is probably why they called you in saying that you shouldn't submit it, because I feel like that's something that's happened a lot in American history. And like you said in the poem, it's like these history books aren't telling all of it. And then once you start to bring up all of it, it's like, no, 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 no. That's not what we want you to do here. So I feel like it must have been like really pivotal for you, especially as a 15-year-old, to be called into a room by all of your supervisors and your teachers saying that this shouldn't be submitted, when really that's the kind of stuff that should be taught to 15-year-olds.
You guys have to know too. I am from South Carolina. I deeply love my home state. It's a beautiful place full of beautiful people, but it's slow for change. It is slow. It is so conservative. Uh, South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union, and that's how conservative they are. But anyone else? I'm sorry. No. It actually took me a long time to analyze that poem myself. Uh, Almost a decade. At the time, I thought. At the time, I was actually really into hip hop music and wanting to write songs and rap and stuff. So I wrote poems early on in middle school. But by the time I was in high school, I wasn't as much as much of a poet as I wanted to be a rapper. So when I did that, it was kind of easy, uh, and I wanted it to be edgy, and I wanted it to grab people's attention. In no way did I mean for it to be racist. But then looking back at it as an adult, it's like what why did I feel this way when my entire education is telling me you're doing good, you're doing fine, the world is great, and for some reason as a kid I still felt like you're not teaching me everything that there is, and I wasn't really and I'm almost 40, so I'm pre-internet, so I didn't have access to as much information as people have, and I come from a religious family, so people weren't like shoving Malcolm X down my throat and the Black Panthers and all this stuff. I came from a pretty conservative Christian family, and I don't know. Even in my youth, as an adolescent, I just felt like there's a lot more to this world. There's a lot more to the condition and the situation of the Black community that has us in this position that we're just not aware of. And so, in that poem, I put as much as I was aware of in there, and it has permeated into my art over the years. This right here, if you guys can see my screen, is my basic mantra that I recite to myself almost on a daily basis. I came up with this a few years ago. My last name is Prince, so I'm partial to peas, as y'all can see right there. Y'all see how I did that? You know. So I think if you hold the Prince's four P's close to your heart, you'll be somewhat successful. If not, you'll get to a happy place in life where if you do fail, it won't be because you didn't try. You know. So practice, patience, passion, and persistence. If you carry these with you, you're almost an unstoppable force. In the way that I try to infuse my art with the education, the self education that I've been putting myself on this course for the last couple of years. Here is one painting from a three-piece series that I did, self-portraits entitled The Writer, where I actually put some of my poems directly onto the canvas. Um, I'm topless. This is me not hiding anything and my absolute naked self, and this is my truth. And I wrote my words, and so you can see exactly who I am and exactly what I think. Um, Always trying to. They say a picture is worth a thousand words, but sometimes I still like to put words into the picture, so it's 1,001 words. A painting I did of my son a few years ago. Another really cool phrase that I like to repeat a lot. It's hard to see on here, but it says, "The dream is free, but the hustle is sold separate." And that's, if you say it to yourself once or twice, it's pretty obvious what it means. You know, you can wish and hope and dream big all you want every day, day in and day out. But if you don't hustle, if you don't actually put forth some type of effort to reach those dreams, you'll always stay stagnated, always stay in the same spot. Um, right now, my biggest series, or my largest body of work, is my reader series. And this is a series that I hold true to my heart because I really try to infuse education into the art as much as possible. And the easiest, simplest way that I thought to do this is to actually hold literature that I feel the viewer would find interesting or useful. And so I went on this two, for about 4 or 5 years, I just read as much as I could because once again, throughout my educational career, I realized that I was never forced to read books written by black authors. I was never really tested or quizzed on books written by black authors, and it took me a while to actually realize that. And once I realized like how much information and literature and the treasure trove and wealth of knowledge and information that I had missed out on, I went on this like book binge for years, and I realized a lot of the material that I had come across and was reading was not well known to a lot of people. So I started putting it in my art, and I created the reader series, and I try to show these pieces as much as I can. Um, this right here, this piece is I'll go back. This piece is, I know I'm talking a lot, guys. I'm going to take up the whole class. But this piece right here is one of my most important pieces to me. The book I'm holding here is called The Destruction of Black Civilization. It was written by Chancellor Williams. I'm from South Carolina. The author of this book, Chancellor Williams, he wrote a history book on Africa and how Africans lost the continent, how the invaders came in and took control of the continent. And it is a straight history book. And this author is from South Carolina. I was not aware of this book at all until I was 32 years old. How is that even possible? I thought to myself. where an African American wrote a history book on Africa, and he's from the same state that I grew up in and had the majority of my educational career in, and I've never heard of that book, never heard of the author. I found that troubling and unsettling, and I made it a point to share these books with people. A lot of people talk about Malcolm X. A lot of people have opinions about Malcolm X from what they heard. You can just pick up his book and read his own words. Here in this picture as well, we have some books about the Rothschilds, American apartheid, Huey P. Newton, a predominant African American slave figure who started a revolt, Nat Turner. Once again, still just with the reader series, trying to put as many books in my art as possible. Here we have the ISIS papers written by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She based her research off of Neely Fuller's Jr.'s research. Here we have some more books which are very, very interesting. Ivan von Sertimer's They Came Before Columbus, The African Presence in Pre-Columbian America, When Rocks Cry Out, written by Horace Butler, 48 Laws of Power. These are books that I have in my library that I realized that no one reads. Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics. This guy has a whole program geared towards the issuing of reparations for the descendants of slaves in America. Nobody reads these books though. So, and another very, very pivotal piece for me, especially after I read this book has become the most important book I have ever read in my entire life. This is from Dr. Amos Nelson Wilson. The title of his book is Black on Black Violence, The Psychodynamics of Black Self-Annihilation in Service of White Domination. And once again, it's a very, very unheard of book. And so this is what I try to do with my art now, is try to use it as a way to help educate people. Ooh. And I want to stop sharing the screen, but I can't. I don't see how to do it. Oh, here it goes. There we go.
Is that all?
There was a few other pieces.
Yeah, why don't you test more? And you know what I think we should publish your book list. At some point, we're gonna start sending you guys some like documents with artist names. So we're gonna publish your book list, okay?
That's such a good idea.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
I would love that.
But let's look at the rest of the pictures.
This is another piece that came early from the reader series. Once again, in the early conception of the series, I wanted to have the books as the focal point. But early on, I realized I was making the books too small or too far away, and so that's why later on in the reader series, the pictures are more cropped and up close, so that they're portraits, but essentially the book is the main actor in the piece. And we just have some more of our Black Love series where I try to honor the black body and show that we're beautiful. And that's a question I get a lot too, because I do a live YouTube channel and I get viewers from all over the world, and a question comes across sometimes that people ask, like, why do you only paint black people? And my answer for that normally is there's enough white artists painting white people. I don't think they need my help. So, but when I really got into art, and I've only been in this thing for about 11 or 12 years, really trying to take it serious and really trying to perfect my craft and really trying to make my art mean something. You spend a lot of time in galleries and museums, and the black body is absent almost everywhere you look when something is an establishment is considered to house fine art. You don't normally see the black person there, so I make an attempt to highlight the blackness as well. Here's a beautiful painting I did of my sister some years back. The first painting that my mentor gave me a compliment on. The bench and the shadows from the bench, he was really thrilled about that. And he was like, "Dang, dude, did you find like the hardest bench to paint and then paint it?" I was like, "Kinda," but it's one of my favorite pieces just because it is my sister. Once again, just trying to show black is beautiful, and I love teapots. You know, I'm really manly and really rough. I grow a beard, but I like a nice cup of Earl Grey every once in a while. And love painting teapots. I did a whole series of teapots, somewhat as a practice to work on chrome and glass, and I did several of these to really perfect that shiny look to the chrome. It's not as easy as people think, but glass is a little bit easier, but chrome is it's kind of tough. I think I pulled those off pretty well. Another one of my favorite paintings. This is an older piece of this guy's name is Igor Kalakna, and he's a Russian artist who paints like these beautiful Russian landscapes with elk and deer and bear and snow and here I went to his home studio just to hang out and have some coffee, and he was actually working on some. I'm going to butcher this word, Matroska. Somebody said
Matryoshka?
Matroska dolls.
Chinese
Yes,
dolls?
that's what he was working on, and he can't make them fast enough. They sell like hotcakes. Soon as he gets them done, they're like flying out the window. But they're the dolls that stack inside each other. Really cute pieces. He hated this painting. He said it. I made him look older than he is. But, oh well, I like it. And here we have another painting of a beautiful black woman. This one is titled "I Met God and She Was Black." And what else do we have on here? And I think that's it, guys. Yeah.
Travis,
hmm
what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's my name.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tra- Travis Prince. You guys can Google me.
I think it would be really interesting in the tradition of the black to take those pot paintings and upend them with the books from the reader.
Uh,
Because you
um.
have there of like he comes from the colonization of Europeans in India, and you have this idea of like a clash of classism who brings heat, European heat. Like, I think that you could turn the lives on their acid
Mm,
um, in thinking about those together, you know, because the still lifes are so painted that style,
yeah.
but you know, that was sort of like punch
Ooh.
that, you know, very whatever.
Yeah. I've been thinking about another still life series too. I like painting still lifes. They're fun. I think you gave me a really good idea, Nikki.
That's what we're all here for, to give each other good ideas.
Like that.
So, I'm gonna show you guys a quick and PowerPoint sort of framing this idea of monument marker and memorial, which, you know, will not directly relate to everything, and also kind of throwing in some vocabulary words, things that you might say, I don't know, you know, not gonna let me share my screen. Happened. What did I do, Gemma? Oh, stop share. Wait. You
What are you
stop.
trying to do?
Travis, did you stop sharing?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so let me try again. Share screen. And we won't do it. Huh. It won't that. Or maybe I want this. Why is it not? Sorry. Okay. Well,
Nikki, you're kind of cutting in and out, but I think it's actually background noise from somebody else that's like unmuted or something.
okay. Can you guys
No.
see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. All right. So, I lost being able to see all you guys. Well, okay, we'll go this way. So, some things are serve as both a marker and a monument, right? So this particular one, my son just sent it. I'm pretty sure he's got a Q-Pop, which is where the Wright brothers tested their airplane. So obviously, you can go down all sorts of wormholes. The Wright brothers are the only people who deserve credit for aeronautics, modern aeronautics. But this serves as both a marker to how famous the site is and where they were working, and as a kind of memorial to this, huge effort that was liked, right? So, something that's in some cases these things serve as one and both. I need to do this on a smaller screen. Okay, maybe that's better. So, and then this one is sort of a funny little pair, right? This is a marker to places that don't exist: Hogwarts, Narnia, Wonderland. So this is sort of a place to, and I think what's funny about this, and once again, more part of our conversation in terms of making things and doing things, is that this situates you in relation to.
Yo, it's hot as shit without my damn AC on, man.
Right? So as artists,
I hope I'm on mute so they can't hear me. I'm gonna even sweat my ass off.
ourselves kind of in relation, right? And it's my famous speech about the cube, right? If you imagine you have a well-known was the behind us in our modern society. And I think when we're talking about culture and a lot about what we're going to be talking about,
So we're giving a Zoom
that situation
class right now.
being engaged.
I'm getting paid like right now, literally
This other one,
on the clock.
again, a simple
But this is so cool. We got like 14 people in there, yo.
But this is a marker for the sculpture part. It essentially sits alongside a sculpture, so it tells you.
I probably don't even paint this afternoon. I ain't gonna lie, yo. I got a little bit of painting in today. That the Jesus painting I'm working on. I took that shit to work, yo. I ain't gonna lie, yo. Yeah, I took my Jesus painting to work. Had my little backpack with all my supplies. I set up in a little room somewhere. I painted for about 2 hours.
Something that happened. So in this case, this is a memorial for a bicycle accident. So someone has died literally on the spot in a biking accident, and this memorial is kept up by people who love them and who honor their memory in this way by memorializing the site of their death, right? So we see those all over the highways. It's a very Latin in Mexico. You see like buildings built on the side of the road for car accidents. So it's a very traditional sense of memorial. And then I thought this was really interesting. This wall, which just sort of looks like a wall, has all of these things embedded in it. And these things that are embedded are all from the building that was taken down behind the wall. So there was a very, very old building. And the new owners, for whatever reason, I don't know, the building came down. But they salvaged all of these bits and pieces.
Can you guys hear me?
And they incorporated them into the wall. So I think that's a really interesting, it's sort of a monument to what you see there.
ASAP Rocky, praise the Lord.
But an interesting way to storing memory for you, right? This one is from
I'm in
in Alaska, and this one I think really serves.
Nikki, I think your share screen is like frozen or something.
Oh,
Yeah, I sent you a message. Your slides aren't changing.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
My computer.
okay.
Can you guys hear me?
They're not changing over here.
You guys can't hear me?
I think someone
Good.
told
Okay,
me
I'm
that.
muted.
Let's see.
Big track. ASAP Rocky, praise the Lord. I don't know, I might listen to it later. I like a little bit of ASAP, but not like that. Deadly Virus says Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so I don't want to share any of those things. Maybe this is the problem. Where's that?
But yeah, I'm in a Zoom class right now until
Reopen everything.
like another
Right.
10 or 15 minutes.
I only have it shared. Can you see it now?
No. There is nothing.
And we're having technical difficulties over here.
Share screen. How about now? Yes.
Now, yep.
Okay, so did you see this one?
Yeah.
Yep.
See that one?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so this was the one, the Viking accident on the left, and the memorial monument wall on the right. And you see they put like the radiator grills and the tiles in the kitchen and a little window and these other little tiles and pieces of debris. So, and I think that one of the things, when you have the opportunity to see Travis's paintings in person, is that you, as you investigate them, you find all of these wonderful little details, right? And it's the details that we embed that tell the narrative in a fuller, richer way. So this is in Alaska, Homer, on the Homer Spit. And it serves as an it's a marker for an area of the state. It's also a memorial. It's a memorial to all of the fishermen in that area who have passed away in storms or accidents. And you can see there's a poem there that is by a person. So there's a way to, like, the poem serves almost as a moment of prayer or a moment of reflectiveness inside of the monument. There's different components of the monument, this building area, and then also over here this bell. So inside of the building, this is a list of people who have died at fishing, in the fishing industry, or in boating and fishing accidents. And you can see the stone is serrated or carved to look like the rope that would be traditional on these boats. You have like the steering wheel on a boat. What's the proper word for steering wheel on a boat? Does anybody know?
Helm.
Okay, I'll take that because I don't know what's better. So, and then over here you have a hand with a gaffer's hook. So inside of that, so this is the picture of the inside of that structure. So you have, again, a space that is about
Don't play the Kanye Riley speech. When he started crying, I still ain't listened to it yet. I might play it, yo. I'll play it after I'm done with this show. But this is actually work right now. I'm on the clock, so. Mr. Fisher, Kanye is definitely a clone.
So it also has a snorkel interior. So there's a representation of fishermen. So there is something. So now we've been invited to read something. We've been invited to enter a place, and now we've been invited to see a likeness of a human, right? So now at each of those levels, this piece, this space is connecting to us, right? So other symbolism is the compass rooms on the base. So we're now located in space and time, sort of physical space. You can see how these windows frame the inlet and the harbor where the boats can leave from or come back home to. So you have that kind of symbolism happening. This is that's kind of my interpretation of it. This one is for the Twin Towers. So again, it doesn't have to necessarily be a person that's memorialized, right? The loss of the Twin Towers and all of the loss of the lives and the destruction of America as a place that finally had war, besides the Civil War, on its, war from the outside on its territory. So this is also something. So things is not necessarily doesn't have to be a person that's memorialized, right? I thought this one was particularly poignant. This is a young woman who was at home. The police burst in. They shot her. I don't actually know where this case is in the justice system right now, but the person who I don't know this person. I found it on the internet, but their idea of the way to memorialize her was to paint her doing the last thing that she was doing. So, and obviously in a moment of joy. So, depending on what the tone or the tenor of the memorial is, the viewer learns or understands what their position is in relation to it. Okay? So, we also with can't tell if you're all there. Did you all leave? Are you here? Okay. I got scared. Y'all snuck out of class. Okay, so this one is actually here in Wyoming, Pennsylvania, and I don't know if any of you know this story or have seen this, but underneath this grating is a rock, literally a rock, and the rock has two different markers that tell us its story. So the first marker says, on this rock, the Indian Queen Esther slaughtered the brave patriots, men in the Battle of July 3rd, 1778. And then this is presented by the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1895. Okay, so a couple of things about that. One is that the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1895 were basically women who were completely powerless to vote or own money or own property, managed to get together, throw a bunch of tea parties, and decide that it was important to preserve this rock, right? To tell this version of the story. So then the state of Pennsylvania comes along at some point, and they put up this monument entitled The Blood Rock on the night of July 3rd, 1778, after the Battle of Wyoming. So this is indicating that this happened outside the confines of legitimate warfare. 14 or more captive American soldiers were murdered here by a maul wielded by a revengeful Indian woman, traditionally but not certainly identified as Queen Esther. So there's a lot of really problematic stuff, right? First of all, no one's telling Queen Esther's story, right? Queen Esther, there's no indication of the relationship between Queen Esther and the colonists. There's no story about how the colonists had played different Indian tribes off of one another in the different battles. There's no conversation about the fact that the colonists had murdered her sons that day during warfare. And what really is distressing about this is that lack of a full-throated narrative of where the story, and you can see that the story shifts a little, right? Like the Daughters of the American Revolution are resolute about the word savage, right? So now that becomes something that's not okay to say out loud anymore. So now we're revengeful. But still, the whole story doesn't happen here, and it's definitely told from a white colonial lens. It's definitely lacks parts of history that would tell the story more completely. So you can see here where things like this, where this serves He
Philanthropic.
did lots of good stuff in the neighborhood, but every penny that he earned was in the slave trade. So everything that is built up around him and his name is tainted by it being directly born on the souls of blacks who he so sold. So what happened is that when it was torn down, a young woman by the name of Jen Reed
Can you hear me? Oh, not really. I just really appreciate the turnout. All you guys came in, and I'm excited that we're doing this again. I know it's kind of weird. We're not, at Marywood in the classroom doing this together, but it's not so bad, and it's actually fun this way. So happy everybody joined, and can't wait to see you guys later on this week.
All right. Everybody good?
Good.
All right. Well, welcome to you guys who are new. I'm really excited that your voices are here with us, and welcome everybody back. And we will see you on Thursday.
Woo! Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That was almost painless. It went pretty good, and for the most part, it's the kids who already know us, so it's like they're not don't have to get to know us. Worked with half of the group last year. I know it's hot as hell without my damn AC on though. Jesus Christ. I ain't privileged enough to have central air and heating like y'all motherfuckers got. I'm in the stream eating freezing pops. Lord, don't drop the blue juice on the carpet. That shit won't never come out. Alright. Close it up. I feel like eating right now. What time is it? 7 o'clock. Might hold out for a little while. What the hell? Damn, Eminem. That shit is crazy. She had a nice ass though. I think I was gonna play the game. I think I might eat something real quick. Cross my window. I can't stand the rain. Hungry, hungry, hippo. Hungry, 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 hippo. Oh yeah, cooked a little bit of beef stew last night. About to heat that shit up. Some beef stew. What up though? What up though? Oh, the Kanye West thing. Yeah, I didn't listen to that thing yet, man. Uh-oh. Yeah, that shit crazy. Yeah, this channel is crazy. What the fuck? This is like the new World Star or something? Yo, this chick is beating this dude ass. Yo, how you get beat up by a girl like that? How do you let a girl beat you up? Broad daylight. You can never come back to the block. Ever again, homie. Never come back to the block ever again. You let the girl beat you up. Ooh-wee. Some leftover beef stew. It get better when that shit sit overnight, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, what I meant to look up that Kanye West thing. I gotta see that shit. Kanye for president. In North Charleston, that's where he was at? Charleston, like Charleston, South Carolina? Hold on. Mr. Yeezus.
Decline. Nearly 6,000 reported today. Hard-hit Michigan now seeing an uptick in cases after hundreds attended July 4th flag parties.
And we've seen the stunning images of testing lines stretching for miles. Thousands waiting weeks for results in Arizona. Some labs facing a 30-day backlog. 13 states are reporting testing problems.
You know, I don't know what's worse, honestly. The fact that so many states reopened too early, or the fact that they are now facing problems that should have been solved months ago. Surging cases, PPE shortages, testing backlogs. These are all the same problems America was dealing with back in March. So clearly, other than coronavirus getting a summer tan, nothing has changed. And these states saw what happened in New York. They saw it happen here months ago. They had time to prepare. And they're still not handling it right? You know in a horror movie when the teenagers run upstairs away from the killer instead of running outside? This is like if they didn't even run. They just stayed on the couch watching TV. Oh, where's Darren? He's dead. All right, what's the next episode? I mean, at this rate, America is going to solve its testing issues 8 or 9 months after we have a vaccine. And while hospitals are filling up and more people are getting sick, Mickey Mouse has decided that the show must go on.
Disney welcome again. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, help is just a phone call away. 800
I'm here for president. This is my first time. I still ain't never hear what the fuck he had to say, yo. Yeezy, Yeezy.